He needs to see the truth with his own eyes, the old woman interrupted. The stone man released one hand from my shoulder and instead reached a little lower. I was still near numb, but it seemed he'd grabbed hold of my spine. By it, he lifted me off the ground as easily as a man picking up a garden rake. I struggled to escape his grip, feeling more like a snake than a man as I wriggled against his fingers. The tallest of the three walking corpses in the room, one clad in black and wearing spectacles with dark lenses, held a hand mirror up for me to see. In it, I caught a glimpse of my reflection. A skull stared back at me, one which held two brown eyes in the sockets. The bones were bleached white, and when I opened my mouth to cry out in anguish, the jaw lowered. There was no tongue inside, neither was there a throat to look down. Only an empty space my jawbone had once hidden. The tall one in black tilted the mirror forward, allowing me a glimpse of the rest of my body. My chest was nothing but a hollow rib cage. No heart inside, no lungs. Where once I was certain I had a fat belly was now empty space with a spinal column running down the middle, with stone fingers enclosed firmly around it. Where once had been my groin was a pelvic bone. My eyes gazed upon my own femurs, fibulas, and tibulas, down to bony toes, which rattled louder the more I trembled. Why? What have I done to deserve this? My bleached fingers touched my own face, then my throat, my rib cage. Finally, the spot where the stone stranger held my spine. With what little I could feel, I confirmed that it was true. "I am sorry thou hadst to find out this way," spoke the tall one in black in the voice of an old woman. "The end times were long ago, Josiah. Thou art what we call dry bones, brought back to life by the will of the ghost." The longer I looked at her, the more I started to take in, and the more bizarre it all became. Her clothes were not from the hazy time that I remembered. She wore a tall hat with a wide brim and a strap with a buckle around the front. A long coat, dark as night and buttoned closed, covered most of her body. Strangest of all, her black trousers were covered in dozens of small leather belts over her waist, legs, knees, and ankles. If she had eyes, she hid them behind spectacles which reflected my own hollow visage back to me, as well as the mirror had. Her face was that of a woman of 60 summers, and her skin was a pale shade of gray. While one of her hands was flesh, the other was just bones, like mine. No doubt, she was a corpse that somehow walked and talked. The other two in the room were far more decomposed than she. I was too disgusted to look upon them for more than a moment. "Whether thou likest or not, this is the truth, Josiah," said the old woman. "It is as the book says." Her fleshless hand raised a black, leather-bound tome with no title on the cover. She gazed up at the ceiling and began to recite in a higher, shriller voice. "Again he said unto me, Pray upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the voice of the ghost. Thus saith the ghost unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the ghost." Her words sounded like something out of scary stories I recalled from a foggy childhood, the sort that kept me up at night, jumping at every noise and shadow.